This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete Haynes online manual at haynes.com.
Slacken the rear wheel bolts, then jack up the rear of the car and support it on axle stands. Remove the rear road wheels. Whilst the wheels are removed, refit at least one wheel bolt to each hub to ensure the brake disc remains correctly positioned on the hubs. With the handbrake lever fully released, detach the necessary handbrake cable retaining clips to prevent strain on the brake hose when the caliper is removed. Unscrew and remove the caliper guide pin bolts, counter-holding the guide pins with an open-ended spanner to prevent them from rotating. Discard the guide pin bolts. New bolts must be used on refitting. Lift the caliper away from the brake pads and tie it to the suspension strut using a suitable piece of wire. Do not allow the caliper to hang unsupported on the flexible brake hose. Withdraw the two brake pads from the caliper mounting bracket. Carefully clean the pad locations in the caliper body/mounting bracket. Brush the dirt and dust from the caliper and piston, but do not inhale it as it is injurious to health. Inspect the dust seal around the piston for damage and the piston for evidence of fluid leaks, corrosion or damage. Prior to fitting the pads, check that the guide pins are free to slide easily in the caliper bracket and check that the rubber guide pin gaiters are undamaged. If new brake pads are to be fitted, it will be necessary to retract the piston fully into the caliper bore by rotating it in a clockwise direction and pressing the piston in at the same time using a special retraction tool. If this tool cannot be obtained, a pair of circlip pliers can be used in the same manner. As this is done, the fluid in the master cylinder reservoir will rise, so make sure that it doesn't overflow. If necessary, use a syringe or suction gun to remove the needed brake fluid. Do not reuse the old brake fluid upon refilling. Use only new brake fluid of the specified type. Where applicable, peel the protective sheet from the new pad backing plates, then fit the pads in the mounting bracket, ensuring that the friction material is facing the brake disc. Slide the caliper back into position over the pads, ensuring that the pad anti-rattle springs are correctly positioned against the inner surface of the caliper body and are not jammed in the inspection aperture. Press the caliper into position, then install the new guide pin bolts. Tighten them to the specified torque setting whilst retaining the guide pins with an open-ended spanner. Attach the handbrake cable to the frame at the necessary retaining points. Tighten the bolts securely. Repeat the above procedure on the remaining rear brake caliper. Depress the brake pedal repeatedly to force the pads into firm contact with the discs. Once normal pedal feel has returned, check that the discs rotate freely. Refit the rear road wheels. Lower the car to the ground. And tighten the road wheel bolts to the specified torque. Check the hydraulic brake fluid level. If necessary, add the specified type of new brake fluid to bring the level up to the max mark. New pads will not give full braking efficiency until they have bedded in. Be prepared for this and avoid hard braking as much as possible for the first 100 miles or so after pad renewal.